Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. Appreciate you taking a few moments. If you'd like to, you can follow along today in Genesis, the 24th chapter. We will begin in the 26th verse. And if you will, again, I'll ask you to like, share, comment on the post, and then we will look together at our text. The Bible says here, the man bowed his head and worshiped the Lord and said, this is what I want us to focus on today, what he prays. Blessed be the Lord, the God of my master, Abraham, who has not forsaken his steadfast love and his faithfulness toward my master. As for me, the Lord has led me in the way to the house of my master's kinsman. I want to focus with you this morning on several things. Several things that we all should be grateful for, that we should all be praising God and thanking Him for. This servant's heart is overflowing with joy, with rejoicing, and probably a certain amount of relief as he has found a woman who apparently meets all the criteria that he had been given in seeking a wife for Isaac. God has just proven himself. As he says here at the end, he's led me in the way. He's brought me. I've come out here looking for a needle in a haystack, and God has led me to this lady. He's led me to this woman, to a woman who meets all of the criteria, and lo and behold, even down to the point of being a member of Abraham's household as I was directed. So God leads this man. And I want you to notice the three things that the servant is grateful for, that each of us in our own way, we may not be out meeting women by the well, looking for a wife for our master's son, but God has exhibited these three things in every one of our lives. We just have to think about how that's true. First of all, he is grateful for the mercy, the love. One simple word would be the kindness that God has exhibited, his steadfast love. God has been kind to this man. That kindness is something that generally is pretty rare in our society today. But God is a kind God. When we think of words that describe God, one of the words that has to come to mind is kindness. And so we see that again. He calls it here his steadfast love, his mercy that has been shown. We should be alert. We should be aware and looking for the kindness that God demonstrates toward us. I would encourage you maybe today to sit down and take maybe a pad and paper and just write down some of the areas where God has been kind to you. I expect if you ever get started on that list, it will end up being a rather lengthy list of the kindness that God has demonstrated. And then the second thing that he talks about here in that verse, not only his steadfast love, but his faithfulness. He says, God has been faithful. He says he's been faithful toward my master, and ultimately he's been faithful towards me. I don't know, the Bible doesn't say so, but I wonder what thoughts went through this servant's mind when Abraham gave him his orders. What kind of woman to go find. I want you to go out and I want you to find this type of woman, and oh, by the way, she's got to be from a particular family on top of that. Pretty strict standards that this gentleman is operating on. And lo and behold, he gets out there and he finds that very woman. He says, God has been faithful. God did not abandon me in this search, and he stood loyal to his man Abraham. God is faithful. God is a friend that sticks closer than a brother. He walks with us through the valley of the shadow of death. Again, on that list, turn the page and list the times in your life, the places you remember when it seemed like everyone else had walked out, but God was faithful. One of the best definitions I've ever heard of a friend, some of you have probably heard this before, is a real friend is one that walks in when everyone else walks out. God is that faithful friend. And then not only did you talk about the love, the mercy, the kindness that God has shown, the faithfulness that God has shown, but then he says he led me. He brought me to this place. I would have never found this woman on my own. I would have never known where to look, but God led me to this exact spot. He brought me to her and led her to me. God orchestrated all of these events. Not only does this man thank God, praise God for his kindness, for his faithfulness, but then his leadership. Just mentioned it a moment ago that he says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you, walk with you through. He's there through that valley of the shadow of death. His rod and staff comfort me, David says. We recognize the leadership. Again, I challenge you, add to that list not only the ways that you can think of that God has been kind to you, that God has been faithful to you, but the times that God has led you, the times that you know that left to your own devices, you would have made a mess of your life. Or maybe you've already made a mess and God led you out of that mess. Think about the times that God has led you. Make those three lists today. Start on them. You don't have to spend all day on them. Just take a few moments and make that list and think about that list, and then do what this man did. Bow your head and worship him. You think about that. Have a great day. We'll see you here tomorrow morning.